Hello, everyone. I'm so excited for today's live. I have a special guest that I'm about to bring on who is the #1 global branding expert, Rey Perez, and we are going to talk all about amplifying your brand, taking it to the next level, and elevating who you are and how you are here to serve. Rey is a best-selling author, award-winning speaker, podcast, radio show, and talk show host, elite business coach, and philanthropist who leads mastermind groups and business growth seminars globally. He has shared the stage and worked with some of the biggest icons in the industry, such as Les Brown, Jack Canfield, Bob Proctor, my fave, Kevin Harrington, and Sharon Letcher, just to name a few. With nearly 2 decades of sales and marketing experience, Rey and his team of experts create world-class celebrity brands for top entrepreneurs and professionals who want to dominate their niche and industry. So I'm super excited to introduce him to you, to bring him on, for him to share his magic with you. And before I do, I'm going to share a quick video before I introduce him.
His ability to see what's special about you and to be enthusiastic about that and really get you to share that enthusiasm and be excited about your new branding.
And the community that he's created has been really cool. So I've been able to learn a lot of best practices.
The great benefit about working with Rey Perez is that he's going to drive your brand. When he drives your 360 brand, it's going to be a simplistic way to streamline and to organize your message.
The easiest thing about referring Rey is that he has a system and he's going to help people become better. I watch him do it all the time.
The biggest benefit of working with Rey is that he gives you an identity. He gives you a branding that matches with who you are in the world, who you can be in the world.
It's not about do you need to wear a suit? How do you want to make value in the world? Don't try to you're making me feel like
you need to celebrate. Because if you don't, then what's the point of working so hard?
Hey, Rey, welcome. I'm so excited to have you here.
What's going on, Stephanie? Very excited to be here.
Thank you so much for taking the time to be here. I'm excited for you to share your magic and support other amazing soul-driven leaders with elevating their brand. The work that you're doing in the world is so needed and so powerful. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Awesome. Super excited. Super excited.
I want to first open it up and hear a little bit about what got you into the world of branding and how did you realize that this is your God-given talent to support people in elevating who they are and the work that they're doing in the world?
Well, it's interesting because I could take you all the way back to college because when I was in college, or actually before, when I was in high school, I had my own business. I had a lawn service. I used to cut lawns, and it was called the Rey's Lawn Service, by the way. It was very creative. And I basically made enough money to pay for everything I wanted as a high school kid, like buy my girlfriend stuff, go to the movies, and do all that kind of jazz. And then carried on into college. I ended up hiring a few of my friends to work for me. I used to pay them $5 per house that we cut. And if they brought me the house, I'd give them 50% of it. So it was a great way. I made a lot of cash. I worked really hard, but I made enough cash to do all my stuff. And then when I was in college, I was approached by a friend to assist him in promoting a party on South Beach at Senor Frogs. And he basically knew that I had a lot of friends. I was in a fraternity at that point in time. And I had a lot of connections. So he's like, could you help me promote this party? I'll pay you $8 or $5 per person, something like that. And if the bar does a certain amount, I'll give you a percentage. So I said, all I got to do is invite people to a party and I'll make some money. I was like, all right, cool, I'll try it out. So the first night, I made $800 cash in one night promoting a party. So I used to work Friday, Saturday, Sunday, like 10 hours cutting lawns to make like $350 cash, which was really good at that time. And I made $800 cash just inviting people to a party. So my entrepreneurial brain just said, okay, wait a second, I'm onto something. And I basically transitioned into becoming a nightclub promoter. I sold my lawn service for like $25,000 at the age of 23. And
Wow.
I built a business around promoting nightclubs. That was almost 20 years ago.
Wow.
I still use today the same exact strategies I used 20 years ago to get people to a nightclub. Now I just get them to a business event, to a seminar, to a conference, to a webinar, to a master class, to whatever. It's the same exact strategies of how to connect with human beings. And that's one of the coolest things I talk about when it comes to personal branding is this isn't just about business and it's not just about making money. It's about building relationships. It's about connection between one human being and another. And when you really start dialing that in, you start realizing that there's these constants. And it doesn't matter what business, doesn't matter what industry, doesn't matter what product you sell. The constant of how one human being connects with another is always the same. So what I've been working on for the last half a decade is how do I get better at all of those pieces of the puzzle? How do I get better with connecting with people? How do I get better with building relationships? How do I make it easier for people to connect with me, build rapport, build relationships? How do I get my message out to more people faster so I can be more effective? And that's basically today what I've mastered. I'm the #1 global branding expert according to Google. When you Google that phrase, global branding expert, which is pretty generic. It's not like global branding expert in Miami, Florida. It's just global branding expert. And you'll see page 1, page 2, everything pops up me. And I've never spent $1 on any SEO, any advertising. It's all because I've been very consistent with my strategy around personal branding.
And what does some of that strategy look like that has supported you in like really standing out with what you do and also with what you do for clients? If you want to share a little bit, you don't need to share the whole thing, but
yeah. So, well, that's what we'll do when, later on. I actually have a course. I have an event. It's called the Business Growth Bootcamp. In 3 days, takes me 3 days to teach on how to build your brand, how to leverage your brand in your marketing. And then we do an implementation day, which is actually getting out there and getting the results. But I wrote a book called Cracking the Celebrity Code. And the entire concept that I wrote about in this book is what everything I do is based on. And if I were to sum it up, it's celebrity, or in quotations, celebrity is not a person. Celebrity is a perception of value that one human being places on another human being. Now, that term celebrity, once that status is achieved in somebody's mind about another person, they're attracted to that person more. They'll listen to that person. They'll have an affinity, a love, and a connection to that person. And they can be directed in one way or another based on that person, right? People will buy to go see them. They'll go to a concert. They'll buy their music. They'll buy the book or the magazine that this person's in. So once you elevate this status to what I call celebrity, right, then you actually can you have a lot more power in the world. So as an entrepreneur, I've realized that if we celebritize the entrepreneur, which in translations means elevate the perception of value in the world of that person, then all of a sudden more people will be attracted to them. More people will listen to that person, and more people will want to do business. And most importantly, more people will want to introduce them to someone that they know. And the reason that they'll do that is because you make them look good. And as human beings, we're all egocentric, whether we like it or not, no matter how humble we are. We always want to look good, right? And if somebody, like, let's say, for example, you have an opportunity to meet Tony Robbins, right? Would you tell your friends about it?
Yeah.
Of course. You'd probably post it on social media. You'd do a video. You'd like have it on your YouTube channel. It'd probably even be on your personal website. Why? Because Tony Robbins has a very high perception of value in the world. Therefore, you meeting Tony Robbins, hanging out with him, taking a picture, whatever the case may be, reflects that high perception of value on you. And that's called third-party credibility. So you get to leverage that perception of value for yourself. So if you focus on increasing your perception of value, other people will do the same thing around you. And that actually brings more eyeballs, more followers, more community members, and in the end of the day, more customers and clients.
Mm. So essentially, it's like a layer above standing out. It's like, okay, standing out with what you do and who you are, but taking it to the next level to be able to convey it in a way that really lands for people and draws them in even more.
And understanding what you're actually doing.
Hmm.
Because I see it happen all over. People are doing it, but they're not actually conscious of what they're doing. It's
Yeah.
kind of like 2005 when the movie The Secret came out. So The Secret talks about the law of attraction. Well, before The Secret came out, most people did not know about the law of attraction. At least I did not know about the law of attraction. And when I watched The Secret, after watching it, I said, oh, I'm using the law of attraction. This is what I've been doing. But up until that point, I didn't know what I was doing. I just knew something was working. I knew I was good, but I didn't have any language to put on. I am leveraging the law of attraction. I focus on what I want and I create it. And when I focus on what I don't want, then I'm going to create that. So I'm going to not focus on what I want, and I'm going to be intentional about focusing what I do. I can be more impactful and intentional with my strategy. It's the same thing with this personal branding concept. There's people that are doing really well, but they could be doing even better if they understood exactly what they're doing and they can put language to it. So what we do in our courses is we teach people the whole concept. We're basically teaching them the law of attraction when it comes to personal branding.
I love that.
And how, I like that. I'm going to use that one. It's the first time I've ever said that. And we really are. Now that I really, really think about it, we are literally, that's what cracking the celebrity code is creating the most intentional strategy for people to be attracted to you, to amplify your brand and your message in the world. And when you do that, you can be more consistent, you can be more intentional, and you can have more control of what you're doing, opposed to, oh, I did all this stuff and I made a lot of money and it worked, but I don't really know what I was doing. So I do a bunch of other stuff, and some of it did good, and then some of it, and I think a lot as entrepreneurs, we do that a lot.
Yeah.
Consistent with how we're doing it because we don't understand exactly what we're doing.
I love that you said that, especially a lot of my audience is female entrepreneurs. And, we're in our feminine flow, which is great, our creativity, and a lot don't understand what that means as far as like the structure piece and the consistency and putting it all together in a way that's really cohesive, that makes sense, that really lands for people and makes the biggest impact. And you and what you do really fits that piece, supports that piece, so that we can still be in our creative flow and doing the things, but we have a structure to support that creativity in a way that is most impactful and beneficial and financially abundant as well. Exactly. Instead of throwing spaghetti at the wall, seeing what sticks, trying it again, feeling overwhelmed, and being on this hamster wheel.
Correct. And nothing that I'm sharing you have to do, right? It's more like you don't need this to be successful. But what I've realized is you can be more on purpose and you can be even more successful, because that's really what I'm always after, is how do I become even more successful? How do I have even better results? It's not like you can't do it with it. People are doing it all the time. They just don't know what they're doing.
Unconscious competence. Yeah.
And I just want to mention, if anybody right now is watching this on YouTube, Facebook, wherever we're streaming, if they want to drop a comment in the chat, we can answer any questions that they have around branding, marketing, sales. Just don't ask me for cooking recipes.
Yeah. So what do you feel is the biggest struggle that people deal with when it comes to taking their brand to the next level, or to really standing out and elevating it in the way that would be most beneficial? Is there a common thing that you see within your clients? I know you work with a lot of high-level entrepreneurs that are already sharing their gifts and doing the thing, but there's just some missing pieces there.
I work with entrepreneurs from all across the spectrum, from startups to $10 million companies and everything in between. And the one common thread that every single person I've ever worked with has the biggest challenge with is clarity. Clarity in who they are, clarity in how to communicate what they do, and not just what they do, but what they do for their audience. Because there's a difference between this is what I do, but this is what I do. How does that benefit the audience? That language is really what's most important, because I say this with all due respect and not to be mean, but people don't care about what you do. They care about what you'll do for them, meaning your product or service. How does that benefit them? And when you can really hone in on the language of communicating what it is that you do for others, that immediately attracts you to them. So working on the language is one of the most important things that we do, and gaining clarity around who this entrepreneur is in the world, not just their business, but who they are as a person. Why are people attracted to them? And what is it that they provide and the benefits? And once we hone in on that clarity, all of a sudden, boom, everything else can become more in alignment, because you can't have a good marketing system. You can't have a good landing page. You can't have a good email. You can't have really great social media if you don't have clarity on your messaging. And it doesn't mean that you can't get results. You can throw enough spaghetti on the wall, some of it's going to stick. But there's a difference between just kind of seeing what works and being very intentional about it and getting greater results.
Mm-hmm. Totally. That makes total sense. And the more clear they are about their messaging and it feeling in alignment with who they are, I feel like that will definitely support them in feeling more confident and grounded when they're showing up, because they have that clarity. And I always talk about like how when we're feeling super confident and certain in who we are, it energetically is more magnetic and impactful. So I could see like the full spectrum of how that would really be supportive.
Yeah.
I also love that you are all about supporting people in creating their brand around like the foundation of who they are and like their authentic self. So that really feels like them.
As I've developed over the years, and as I've done more and more and more, I've realized that the more true you are in your brand, like of who you truly are as a person, even though it may seem counterintuitive of like how you have to perceive yourself or be for people to connect with you or like you, the more in integrity, the more authentic you are, the more people actually connect with you, even if it's like raw, and even if it's things that are not good, because we're all human and we all have our situations and our problems, right? And to think that someone doesn't kind of actually creates a separation. Like I had that problem for a really long time, that people actually were scared or how is it? I was unapproachable because I was too high, like I live in a penthouse. I have 6 fancy cars, I have all the custom clothes, and it's like created this separation between people. And I never even realized that I was doing that. And then when they get to know me, they're like, man, you're nothing like what you seem. And I was like, what does that mean? Until I realized the what I was portraying to the world was like I was this perfect, got us all his shit together type of person, when it's not. I'm just as broken as everybody else. And the more real I got about that, and the more I could share about like my challenges. And that, I mean, literally, that's why I wrote the book, The Drive to Success. This book, I didn't want it to be my how-to book. I wanted this to be my story of the failure that I've gone through in my life, which has led me to the breakdowns, has got me to the breakthroughs. And then I ended up creating a co-author book, because I was like, I don't want to just share my story. I want my clients to share their story also. And this has been super, super, not only precious to me, because like this book was like how to do what I do, right? Teaching people, but like this is like my story. This is what I really care about, and being able to be vulnerable with people and share them the breakdowns that I've had over the years of how I had to keep on getting back up and up. That's really what I feel creates the connection. And just the other day, I had one of my clients' mom say, "Oh, I watched your interview on a podcast, and I love how you shared your story of how that this certain situation happened when I was in college, and this other thing with the other business, and I just really connected with that." And I was like, and that clicked to me. It was like, wow, that vulnerability creates that connection. So being that authentic brand, I think at this point in my life is the most important thing.
What was the last part that you said?
Being your true authentic brand is the most important thing.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, because if it doesn't feel true to who you are, I mean, it's not in full alignment. And so, I'm all about alignment. alignment
Yeah.
and authenticity and being free in who you are. And yeah, and you're definitely someone that stands out in who you are. When I first met you, I just was like, who's this guy? I need to know who he is. And you started telling me all about your work and introduced me to the 360 sites and all of that. And I just thought it was so cool how you really embody your work and what you do and your passion for it. And you've really opened my eyes in shifting things and elevating things and amplifying things within my work. And I'm really excited for all of that because it's opened my mind and eyes in a way that, I didn't know was even a thing.
Well, you know what? I'll tell you what. I know we only have a few minutes left on this interview, but I would be open to doing a special training for your audience specifically on how exactly to leverage and create this true personal brand and how to use it to attract more eyeballs, to get more tribe members, build your audience, build your community, and be able to monetize on that as well. If you feel that would be something valuable, I'd be happy to do that for you.
Yeah, that would be awesome. I feel like it would be super beneficial, especially with the 360 and all the things.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sweet.
that would be super beneficial. So for anyone watching, if you're interested in a free brand training that Ray can do for you guys, you can go to stephb360.com and just click the contact button and send a text with your name, your best email, and the word brand, and we'll send you the details when it's ready. Sweet. It's super easy, and I'm really excited to do this. I know we were like,
Yeah, and I know we're almost out of time, but the 360 side is something I'll talk about when we do the training, because the 360 is a way for you to connect not only with your audience, but allow them to connect with you on everything you have. And I have a very specific strategy on how to do that. And it's kind of like a link tree on steroids. It's like I call it the Ferrari of link trees, right? A 360 and a link tree is like cars, like a Honda and a Ferrari. They both get you from A to B, but there's a difference between the two, and it's the performance. And it's really because I built it as an entrepreneur and as a marketer. And it's something that I specifically wanted to be able to get to more people through a relationship and not through a marketing strategy. So I'm happy to share that with your audience on that training.
Yeah, that would be great. I mean, because I feel like the things that you teach and share are just next freaking level. And it would be really supportive for everyone to learn that, because I think, like, I work with a lot of online entrepreneurs mostly, and we do things a certain way. And with this 360 and the way that you go about things is just it's unique and effective. And a lot of people have been going through a phase of pivoting or expanding their message or their body of work, or wanting to maybe even reach a new type of client. And all of the stuff that you share and teach will be super supportive of that in a way that just feels easier and more in flow as well.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you having me on the live. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. All right. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. I'm so excited to share more about the live training with you, and we'll keep you in the loop.